Welcome to Hop On Calls, a short, tactical, and practical podcast for outbound sales professionals looking to level up their game by learning from actual cold calls that I make every week live on LinkedIn. My name's Kevin Hop, and I'm all about helping outbound sales professionals hone their craft and build high-quality pipeline. Let's dive right in and see what we can learn in this episode.
Hey, is this Eric?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Eric, you're speaking to Shane. Look, I do apologize if I'm an interruption, and I do know you're very, very busy. I understand last time I spoke to you, you transitioned into a new role, and I just wanted to see how that's going for you.
I don't know what role I transitioned into yet.
Are you still waiting?
Am I still what? Sorry.
Because I had you down as one of the CROs at GTM Hub, which I know you're going to be transitioning into another job. You said you didn't know which one yet, but so just to rehash on the conversation, and I've seen your resume, which looks quite impressive. And like I said, I wanted to pick up a conversation with you just to learn a little bit more about some of your successes and how you go to market.
Well, I appreciate the ask. Where are you from? What's your company, Shane?
So my company is sales driven. I'm the CEO of the company, and I really enjoy spending my evenings learning from senior leaders in the industry, more importantly, investors. I hope to exit my business in the next 4 to 5 years. And I don't think there's anybody who could really explain the path that I want to go down to other than people that are really experienced. Hence the reason for the call your way. So that's me in a nutshell. One thing I would like to do, if it's okay with you, like I said, you seem like you have some significant experience in your career, just to say the least. Could I add you on LinkedIn? I'll send the connection request now.
Yeah,
and then perhaps if there's a chance for us to reconnect in the future, I'd love to learn a little bit, maybe pick your brain on some of the learning lessons you have. I'm at a place where we broke the £500,000 mark. We're on our way to $1 million plus this year, and I think the set of skills that we had to take us to the first or second milestone, they're going to need to change for milestone 2, 3, and 4 and beyond. So I think it'd be good to connect with you and perhaps pick your brain in the future, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
awesome.
I'm curious what your product or your offering is. What is your offer, just so I can get it off LinkedIn, just so I know what to think of as we connect and move on with living. But what's the offer?
So basically, we sell market intelligence, building an audience, identifying your ideal customer profile. Moving on from there, after we identify the customer profile, it's a lot of work with the customer success team to find out what the narrative of your buyer is and the buying committee, and more importantly, what are the struggling moments that they experienced before they became a customer of yours. And by pulling that type of voice from directly from your customer's mouth, when we go out to the market and we present the problems that you solve to those end users that should be looking or would be looking at what you do, the level of conversion is much higher. But where we add a lot of value is we don't approach it with a brute force, blunt trauma approach. We go in and we interview and we take surveys and questionnaires throughout that audience. We understand when they buy, when they acquire new services, when they review, who's typically involved, who are the financial buyers, who are the blockers. And once we pull back a level of reporting to you and your teams that basically identifies 12 months of opportunities, decision makers, where they're at, what technologies they use, then when you're presenting specific content to those end users, it's relevant, it's timely, it's at the right place at the right time. And we focus on, a medium to long-term goal by doing a heavy set of work with technology, 2 to 3x more effectiveness. But by month 6, 7, and 8, you're walking into a consistent flow of certainty and a predictable pipeline that, it converts into actual business deals where the lifetime value of your customer extends beyond a 3 to 4 year period versus getting a few meetings, speaking to a few individual stakeholders, getting a quick contract, but then you find out that they churn in 6 to 7 months, which nobody wants. I think it's more based on long-term relationships. So that's what it is. We're a growth consultancy, and we help you penetrate your market and lead you into sales opportunities that are tangible and that lead to lifetime revenue.
Yeah, well, that's a good pitch. I mean, I don't ask people to pitch me, but that all makes sense. Maybe I'll subcontract you because I like the moment at which you can identify the saboteurs more so than the profile. I mean, I think I've chosen the wrong assignment if I'm QAing my messaging with like ICPs, and I've worked in that assignment before, so I never want to do it again. But I just explained to a rep. Also, you sound like you're selling software. Like you're dealing with an ICP that actually does strategy, and you're telling them their methodology is wrong. Like you were like, yeah, I've tried OKRs. I read the book. I mean, like, but I could do EOS or Pinnacle or Smart Sheets, goals, Smart Goals. And use Smart Sheets. Nobody realizes how much of a blocker and headwind is in your face when it comes to doing the work you're doing. And so good on you. Keep doing it. I mean, look, there's a lot of people that say they do it better, and there's a lot of people that do it, but there's few that can market differentiate themselves. And
of course, I think it's a matter of understanding high level business challenges and really how a business operates at a high level. I'll tell you the truth, being completely open with you, I don't know how a business runs beyond 1 million to 2 million as a personal owner, but I do know that business challenges definitely resonate. They're pretty much similar or like-minded to the same in most scenarios. I think the only thing that changes is the scale and the size of the problem as you grow into some of these different organizations. But again, that's what I'm really keen to learn about. And I'll tell you one thing beyond that. I love a lot of zeros. I'm in this to make a lot of money, and I'm just trying to find my way there.
Well, you keep grinding, man. Like, do the work. We just made a call, and I could have said, I am busy. I'm actually in the middle of like creating a work product of which I don't really care. It'll never be on LinkedIn and published, but I'm doing it for somebody. But you got my attention, and clearly, ridiculous. Like, I mean, yeah, no, I'm not looking for anything. I agree with you. It's like if I can make $1 million and not travel 200 days a year in my own business, then I'll do it for a while. What I see is there aren't a whole lot of people that want to just take a shot. I'm not looking at C&D rounds, and I sure as hell as well. I love the mission at Cisco and AT&T when I worked there as a younger like professional. Like I'm not rolling into C's and D's and late stage. Well, they're all like they all have the same proverbial problems. So they'll talk themselves in a circle. But like who I work with are pre A's or B's that don't have to take a down round. Don't have crazy investors, but I love crazy investors because I'm crazy too. With all these, 3 targets, and I'm just slowing down to speed up with them. Like, so, like, do the work. Let's connect on LinkedIn. I'll look at what you have, and there's some parallel universe. We'll find it. That's what we do.
Awesome. Eric, I really appreciate the time, man. I wish you, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll connect with you now. Look out for the connection.
Don't call me back until you've cracked 1 million pounds. I won't take you serious.
All right.
Good on you.
Sounds good.
I'm kidding. You can call me back. All right. Take good care. It's great to talk with you.
You too.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Wow.
That was a what?
You sure that wasn't you? You're cheating. You just called your buddy. I was a long friend of yours.
Mate, that is a investor. He worked at GTM Hub. He's the CEO of another massive company right now that does early to mid-stage SaaS investments with angel investors. He was at Sequoia, like I said, GTM Hub, AT&T.
Wow, really valuable guy.
Safeguard, Cisco, Marriott, and he was just basically like, look, you've got my attention. That's exactly what companies should be doing because they need to get on those latent problems. And he said, don't call me back until you crack 1 million, but actually call me back. You've caught my attention. I'm interested in speaking to you. So that's, again, it's just, like I said, a conversation. He wasn't the right ICP for this list, but he's an investor and he has companies that he can hook me up with. So that's a win.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely at a certain point sounded like it took a networking angle, which is good.
I think one thing I've leveraged in my career is the power of curiosity. Ooh. And in some cases, a lot of individuals that you speak to, you're talking to them about work, which a lot of people in this world are not entrepreneurial by nature. They just go to their 9 to 5, do their shit, and then finish. So when you actually ask somebody about them, like the definition of charm, what is your definition of charm?
Charm?
Yeah.
So charm and the idea of curiosity lines up with one of my golden, I have 5 pillars. I call them the golden rules of cold calling. One of them is be interesting and interested. Be interesting as a person and be interested in the people you're calling. That's like kind of the way that I talk about that curiosity, that charm, that it factor on the phone.
So the way I sold Cutco knives, I don't know if you ever heard of Cutco.
Oh yeah, Cutco knives.
Yeah, by Vector Marketing. Back when I was 16, my first sale, right? $1,200 knives. And I remember the guy's name was Dennis Janikowski, I think it was. And he said, do you know what the definition of charm is? And I said, yeah, it's be it like people like you. And he said, no, it's actually the opposite. It's you making people feel good about themselves, or you taking an interest in somebody to make them feel good about themselves. And whenever I did that and just said, hey, could you help me out? Could you give me a piece of advice? It's like a faucet. Then they open up, and then you build familiarity, and then you build trust, and then you can have a 15-minute conversation 3-4 times a day.
Yeah. Actually caring.
Scott, you're speaking to Shane. Look, I do know I've caught you by surprise, and I know you're a very busy guy, so I will be brief. I've got you down as the CRO at Atacama. Do I have that information right, or do I need to correct that?
No, I'm just curious what this call is in reference to.
Well, it's in reference to you being a CRO. Typically, I help CROs and I work with their teams, more importantly. And I help them drive revenue with market intelligence, understanding their buyer profiles, but more importantly, bringing you back a set of business intelligence and findings that allow you to approach your types of buyers in a strategic, relevant manner. And what it ends up leading to is higher conversions in sales opportunities and longer lifetime value for your customers. Not sure if that's something that you're looking at over the next quarter or if it's a priority, but I wanted to have a conversation with you about it. If we could.
I'm always looking for different things, but I don't really take cold calls without knowing any information. I mean, I pick up the phone, obviously, like I'm doing here, because I'm in sales, and I appreciate the hustle. But without knowing what you do, what I'd like you to do is just send me some information, and I'll review it, and if I'm interested, I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Let me confirm the email very quickly because I've got your old email down. Can I have the new one?
My email address, yes. .com.
All right. I'll send it over now, probably in the next 5 minutes. Do me a favor if it's okay with you. Just confirm that you've received it. It might hit your junk box. And then that way I'll pop over a reconnection request in the next few days. I'll add you on LinkedIn too so you can put a voice to a name.
Awesome. To be completely direct and honest with you, I'll take a look, and if I'm interested, I'll get back to you. And if I'm interested sincerely, you'll hear from me. If not, it won't be a fit. We're not worth your time.
No
worries. Thank you for calling.
It's all good. No problem. Have a good one. Thank you, Scott. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.
Good stuff.
Yeah, was that good? Did you schedule a meeting or not quite?
No, he said, I don't usually take cold calls, but I like the call, like the way you sound. So send me some information, and I promise you if it's relevant, I'll be real with you and get back to you. If it's not going to be a fit. So let's see what happens. Send him an email and roll him in a sequence for the next 6 months and see if I reach him again, if he remembers who we are.
There you go. Big fan of the follow-up. Consistent follow-up over time. So one of the other main pillars of cold calling, the golden rules of cold calling, is I call it fat stacks and the circle backs, which is
Jerry.
What was that?
Big Jerry Hill.
Yeah, Jerry Hill talks about that. He talks about it a lot with Ryan Reisert. I stole it directly from Ryan Reisert. I'm not going to claim that I came up with that. So Jerry and Ryan talk a lot about fat stacks and the circle backs. It's something that when I explain it to executives and founders that talk to me, I say, look, if your reps aren't getting 50% of their outbound meetings from follow-ups, they're doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You do a bunch of cold outreach so that you don't have to do a bunch of cold outreach as you go along. Over the course of about a month and a half to 2 months, your cold outreach should go down. So you only have to do a little bit of cold outreach every day because you're working a giant list of follow-ups. Because what's the number one enemy of sales, in my opinion? What's like one of the number one enemies of sales?
One-touch dials or not following up. Oh.
The one thing that we all wish we had more of, but we all have the exact same amount of. Everybody's got the exact same amount of minutes and hours and seconds in a day. Everyone wishes they had more of it. And everyone in sales, if you want to boil it down, salespeople get paid for time. What do you mean, Kevin? No, they get paid to sell a product. No, they don't. They get paid to sell a product in a specific period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If everybody out there in the world, if everybody ended up being, every piece of the pyramid, meaning every person always knew exactly how to solve their challenges and exactly what they needed at what time, you wouldn't need salespeople. But there's a reason that sales is like pretty much the oldest profession in the world and one of the most populous professions, right? There's millions and millions and millions of salespeople because every organization wants money and they want it on time. And that's why you need a salesperson to help accelerate time.
That's a very, very good way to put it.
So think about that. And when you think about the fact that if I'm paid to get things done in a certain amount of time, I can't necessarily, your job is not to convince people necessarily to move against their time. It's your job to figure out when it's time. So that means you have to follow up with a lot of people because just because I call you and I want to sell you this, I want to talk to you about this now, does not mean it's a good time for you. Well, Shane, that's about all the time we have today. We ended up talking about some inspirational stuff at the end here. I hope everybody is inspired. But thank you for making some real live cold calls, for having probably what is the longest call ever on Hop On Calls. Thank you for eventually going on mute so that I can continue calling. A 20-minute conversation on Hop On Calls. That's the first time that's happened. But hey, mate, thank you so much for coming on. How can people connect with you? How can people connect with Sales Driven? Like
driven, dude, driven. Sales
driven by sales. Sales driven.
Just hit me up on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Anybody on the team, everybody's really responsive. Or you can go to salesdriven.com. Salesdriven, DRIIVN. The two I's stand, they represent myself and Antoine, which are the pillars of the business. We started it. That's why. But also because we have massive drives for the things that we want in life. But yeah, just anything online, the website, LinkedIn, we'd be happy to help you out. Anybody wants to learn how to cold call from the Brits who know how to do it the best, hit us up.
Love it. And that's all we got for today's episode of Hop On Calls, powered by Kixi. Be sure to tune into the live recordings every Tuesday on LinkedIn. Would love to have your comments, reactions, questions. It's a really good learning environment for anyone that is looking to do outbound sales better. If your organization is actively focusing on this, feel free to reach out to me, Kevin Hop, on LinkedIn, or go to hopconsultinggroup.com. I'll see you next time. Cheers.